Hello, everybody. My name is Drew Dosek with Trading the Close. And today the market's had a slight gap down, and we managed to try to fight back near the flat line for the day, but then it had late day selling pressure. But we all bounced around trend lines that we've been observing for quite some time here on the chart. So we're going to take a look at those here in just a second. But first, we're going to jump into the heat map and show you what's going on here. We've got the Dow Jones down 0.36%. NASDAQ down 0.53%, S&P 500 down 0.45%, U.S. oil is up 0.2%, gold is up 2%. Great move on gold. We'll take a look at that chart here in just a few moments. And Bitcoin having a nice day, bouncing back up 1.36%. But if you notice, with all of this red in the major indices, we do have red nearly all across the board here. Some minor positive in the health sector, utilities, some green too. But mainly a lot of red on the screen, but not significant. You can see here down 0.36% for Microsoft, Google down 1.41%. But we're going to look at Google's chart also here in just a few moments to show you some patterns that are starting to develop. All right, into the spiders we go. And we see here with the daily chart, we've got, in essence, almost it looks like kind of a doji tail that's forming here. This illustrates this downward move. And now we're looking to finish right here, right around 592.46. But if we go intraday, you can see a little bit more and understand some of the description of what happened today. Here's where we closed yesterday, and we gapped lower, tried to get back above this declining trend line, failed, tried again and failed, and then started selling off right around 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then caught support on this trend line. I'll back out to the daily time frame to show you where those trend lines came from. I described these yesterday. This pivot right here created a horizontal line all the way across. That ended up being support today. And this declining trend line caught the top end of price action today. So what this is telling me is that we're starting to form a bull flag. Now, this is very immature, and we're going to also show similar patterns on mega cap stocks too, but this is immature. I still do anticipate either more consolidation or maybe a slight pullback. Pullback would be healthy for those that are bulls in the market. That way it can gain momentum and start having more buying pressure to push price up higher on the spiders. First resistance at 598.25, followed by our all-time highs, not that far away, right here at 613.23. On the downside, major support will be here right at 575.46. Into the Qs, very similar situation, except for this one's a little bit more clearly defined with bullish consolidation on the Qs. The more that price action hangs out in this area, the more likely that price will continue moving higher. Right now, though, we're starting to have a little bit of a curve going on. We'll see what price action brings us tomorrow. If we're starting to form a short-term rounded top, we'll see. But ultimately, with all of these closes in this area, that's all bullish consolidation. Into the SMH, similar story here. You can see pull flag up and this nice, beautiful pattern coming down at an angle like that. That's how a flag would hang from a flagpole. That's why they get the name, a bull flag. So you can see that clearly displayed on the SMH. Signifying to us that there is a good chance, as long as price stays above this trend line, this inclining trend line that you see originating from back here from the pivot low in April of 2024. As long as we stay above that, that gives us a really high probability chance of moving higher. Now, we've already tagged this first resistance level at 249. The next resistance for SMH, should we start breaking above 249, will be at 260.05. Into the IWM. Now, this chart I think is fascinating. You've got a trend line from the most recent pivot top here in November 25th of 2024, strung all the way down to the next significant pivot that occurred on February 6th of this year. And then right now, over the last 3 trading days, we have now butted up right to that trend line, trying to get through. Now, if you notice here, we have had more days of consolidation than the spiders in the Qs. So that tells me that the IWM is likely more apt to move higher in the near term. We'll see tomorrow. We have some earnings after the bell. We'll see if that influences price action. Do we then consolidate right here along this line even further, which would then make this trend line weaker, implying that we could break higher? So we'll see if this bull flag pattern plays out. If so, first resistance is going to be at 214.38. But from just looking at this move, you can almost anticipate a decent move on the SMH if this bull flag pattern plays out right around or on the IWM, right around 2153, which would put us up here in this range, right near the pivot tops at 230. That would be the destination should this bull flag play out. Into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is continuing to try to push above this inclining parallel 50% line that you see dotted right here. So we've attempted, failed, and then attempted again. Looks like right now we'll have to watch later today, right around 8 o'clock Eastern, when the markets close on Bitcoin, if Bitcoin can hold price action in this level. And if not, we're coming down to this trend line of support at 101 and 213. Otherwise, we're looking at 116,000 on Bitcoin if we can close above and confirm in the coming days. Great move on Bitcoin. Into gold. Gold also had a nice move today, as you see here, pushing up all the way to the end of the day today. So this is getting very close to negating this bearish consolidation pattern. For the upside, at the most immediate term, we will have resistance right here at 33.55. Other than that, the next stop is $3,433. We'll see tomorrow's trading action if this bearish consolidation is negated on the charts. Into silver. Now, silver also had another breakout day. And guys, we've been talking about this for weeks now. And I was describing this, as long as silver stayed within that wedge price pattern, we had a good probability chance of silver pushing higher. So far, we're seeing that today. Now, main thing now to follow is tomorrow. What does price action do tomorrow? Are we going to close above that candle? If so, probabilities then shift dramatically for a further move up in silver. First resistance will be these pivot highs right here at 33.70, followed by 34.86. But if we do close and confirm above, the main target I'm seeing on silver is all the way up here at 38.97. U.S. oil. U.S. oil is now still chopping around underneath this trend line. Again, this is the master trend line for the near term for oil. We'll see how long and if price continues to chop around this area or continues to get rejected. So we'll have to check back on that tomorrow. Nat gas. What an amazing bounce on Nat gas. This also yesterday, I was raising so many questions talking about, will Nat gas collapse? Will Nat gas fight itself to get back into that wedge? And if it does collapse, or if it does hang out underneath that inclining trend line, we're likely going much lower on the charts. But today, Nat gas said, no, 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 I'm fighting to get back up. And sure enough, that's exactly what it did. You can see comfortably closing above this trend line right here on the charts. This trend line for tomorrow, watch to see if this gets broken, and if this is just a fake out candle or not. Right now, that level is at $3.63. Otherwise, if we confirm and move above, next stop is going to be $3.90 on the charts. Into the 10-year yield, not too much has changed from yesterday, but I still want to update everybody on this 10-year yield every day, because this is going to be significant. If we break above this trend line, that could spell a lot of pressure for folks trying to get any sort of new mortgages or borrow money for large purchases. So watch this area, this declining trend line. So far, it almost looks like near-term bearish consolidation with this big red candle and price consolidating near the bottom half of that candle. So we'll see if that does lead to near-term downside, or if it fights itself to get a chance to break back above that trend line in the coming days. Now into QBTS in the quantum space, this stock had a fantastic move today, as you can see here, up 25.93%. And this was back on news that D-Wave has demonstrated quantum supremacy with a 1200 qubit advantage 2 prototype. And really, to me, that's just kind of, Greek speaking over my head. But what it really means is that they're able to solve problems that supercomputers would have taken millions of years to solve. So with this new technology, and that's even really hard to comprehend too, how can we even gauge how long a supercomputer was going to take to solve a problem that would take potentially millions of years to solve? Well, apparently this new technology is that strong and that capable. In addition, the company also rolled out a quantum-powered blockchain hashing solution, which could cut energy use in blockchain operations by up to 1,000-fold. Now, that is what's ringing in my head right now. That means all the crypto miners out there, should they get their hands on this technology, their power bills, their efficiency will triple, the power bills will go down. They need this technology to start mining cryptocurrency, which in essence will make cryptocurrency likely cheaper to come about in the future. Now we're talking 4, 5, 6 years potentially in the future, But if this quantum rolls out faster, beware, there could be a situation where those Bitcoin miners actually start profiting hand over fist, which in turn could also reduce the cost of some of these cryptos. We'll keep that in mind, but still for the near term, Bitcoin's doing great as we saw on the chart. Into NVIDIA. Now, I wanted to show some mega caps towards the end of the day. You see, I've got NVIDIA, AVGO, Google, and Tesla. Notice the formation that's taking place right here. This is immature bull flag pattern. Now, the IWM was a more established bull flag pattern on its charts, but nevertheless, this is still beginning to shape up to look like a bull flag pattern. If this continues over the next 2 or 3 trading days, the likelihood then shifts for a further move up on NVIDIA. First stop is not far away, 138.90, but I'm mainly targeting right here in the 50% area of this parallel, right around $150 for a move up on NVIDIA. AVGO, another similar bear or bull flag pattern right here into resistance. Next move up on AVGO, should this play out, 245.97, and then touching the highs right here around 250. So that's all very possible in the near to midterm with AVGO as long as that pattern remains. On to Google, very similar thing occurring here. We notice that we've got this longer term inclining parallel channel that price action initially came up into, but then got rejected. But then I bring your attention right here. Notice where all these 4 candles have closed. This one closed here within this green candle. This one closed within the green candle. This one closed within that green candle. And then today, we're also closing within that green candle, but we're also closing above the 50% area of this green candle, making this all bullish consolidation. We'll see in the coming days if that still continues. If it does, this area has been weakened, which would allow Google to move higher on the charts. This resistance would be blown past at that point. First resistance of test would then be around 176 on Google. Tesla, much like the same thing, a lot of bullish consolidation on this chart, chopping around right here on this declining trend line at the moment. Should this continue again? And I sound like a broken record, but that's just the way charts are, guys. Charts have patterns, and many of these patterns develop on the same charts at the same time, which lead and push the big indices like the spiders higher up on the charts if these all do play out. So in the coming days, we'll see if we reverse down for support at $300, or if we break through like the bullish consolidation implies, first resistance will be at 383.76. All right, guys, a lot of info there, but it's a lot of great info, especially in the quantum world. That world really fascinates me with the new technology. I can't wait to see what other breakthroughs are going to come in the near future. Until then, you guys have a great rest of the day. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time. All righty, bye-bye.